Oh, right. Like that. Love the Bible Project videos. All right, so we got to catch up Clauber a little bit here. So we have some rules for Bible study, Clauber. Like we're teaching them how to do Bible study around here and all that. So there is such a thing as a dumb question, but you can ask whatever you want. You can ask whatever dumb question you want to, because it's often dumb things that get us to good questions. Okay. We all
let you know it's dumb though.
Yeah. I don't tell you outright that it's dumb. I let you discover it on your own. Like that. Yeah. It's like through subtle hints like cool.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah. So then also what we try to do is we try to stay in the gospel that we are in. And so because and the reason why I do that, and I'm kind of strict about that too, because Bible study over the years has been about trying to homogenize, trying to make the gospel fit in, try to make all four of the gospels like fit one big story. And I think all four gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are telling us a different facet. Which that's one thing I really enjoyed about doing The Chosen is that was Dallas Jenkins' story about Jesus. This is Mark's story about Jesus. We have Matthew's story about Jesus. And they're using similar stories, but they're telling a different side of who Jesus is. And so Mark and Matthew and Luke, it's not just encyclopedia entries we go here, it's like, oh, what was Jesus doing on February 17th, year 30? Like that. That's not what we're looking for. Every story. This is a very Chris Escher understanding. It's the correct understanding, but it's a very Chris Escher understanding of the Bible. Is that all these stories are in service of all these stories in the gospel are in service to the grand story that Mark is telling about Jesus. So everything is kind of pushing us forward, and that's what this outline is trying to tell us too. It's he puts it in a 3-act structure, just like a play, and we've been talking about that lately in how to write sermons and all that. So we're looking at all these things. So some of the big things that stand out to me to catch us up is how the book begins. Because to us Americans, the book begins with chapter 1, verse 1, and it seems innocuous. It seems like it's a nothing statement. It says, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. But when you look at it through a lens of history and what's going on in that time, Son of God is a huge statement. That was a title for Caesar. Caesar was known as a son of God. So by Mark declaring this is the good news, and also that word euangelion, which is gospel in the New Testament, that word there is also one that would be used for a Caesar. So if the Caesar was visiting your town, people would come into the town and go, good news, Caesar is the Son of God is coming here today. That is how they would announce it. So by this book doing that and declaring that Jesus, the true Messiah, that's what Christ and Messiah are the same word. Christ is Greek, Messiah is Hebrew, that Christ, that he is the true king, that Jesus is the true king, the Son of God. Mark is taking a fistful of sand and throwing it right into Rome's face. Like that it's just right in there, and they're like, my eyes. And like that's what collective Rome is saying. And they're like, we should kill you now. And that's what's going on right there at the beginning. And what we see in this first chapter of Mark is just further clarification that the true Messiah, the Son of God, is here, that he's casting out demons, he's healing people. Like John the Baptist is even saying, like, I'm not worthy, and all these things, and he's calling people. He's looking at Peter in his sleeveless shirt, like that. That's, by the way, I appreciate the laugh. I said it for both of you, and one of you wasn't there. Like that. That's like that. That's because he was. I can't remember what it quite was, but he was up to his sleeveless shirts.
Yes.
And I can't remember what. Yeah, into something. And like that's. I thought it was good.
I knew it was for me.
Yeah, I knew it was for me. And so like that's.
Mark was probably like, why are you saying?
No, it wasn't in there. I did practice it the night before though. I was like, ooh, that's funny. I'm gonna add that in. And so he's calling people, and all of that kind of culminates in that story where we're probably in Jesus' house where he's living, and those people come and cut a hole in his roof and lower a paralytic down in front of him. In that story where they lower the paralytic down, and the Pharisees they're like, I'm not cool with any of this, and Jesus forgives the guy's sins, and he says, what is greater, to say this guy's sins are forgiven, or to say pick up your mat and walk? That picture is like a precursor of what the whole gospel is about. That's a small picture of the resurrection, that in the resurrection of Jesus, we see this dead guy walk again, and that we see forgiveness of sins for it, and they desire to kill him. They kill him in the midst of that. So that first part, all the way up to that story, we are seeing this is the true Son of God in the Gospel of Mark. And then let's see what happens after all that. Yeah, so then it becomes about the Pharisees. Now that they're upset that Jesus has done something, they're trying to trap him. So like and we had all those conversations about how he's Lord of the Sabbath, and it's like, why do all these other people fast and our disciples aren't fasting? And it's all these just rules that they want Jesus to follow, and he's just like, that's just not part of it there, right? And all of that kind of culminates with another healing, doesn't it?
And
Is that the withered hand?
yeah.
Like there at the end of 3. Let's see here. No, like that's right before the parable of the sower. It's where is the hand?
Deafening hand?
Yeah, where is that?
That's right before 8.
Before 8.
Before 8. 31.
We're not that far yet, Kathy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
three
sorry.
verses.
Oh, you're good. We're in chapter 3.
3, 5, and 6. It shows about the hand.
Okay, that's the hand. You knew that? Yeah. So I'm basically catching us up in chapter 4. And I think chapter 4 is important, and we talked a lot about 4 already. But I want us to start in earnest here on chapter 4 again, because this whole section for like 2 chapters, like 5 and 6, all are centered around what is being talked about in chapter 4. And so to remind you guys, and you guys are probably going to remember this. So, and you're familiar with the parable of the sower, right? Like that's in the Gospel of Mark. I was trying to think if we should read it again, but I don't. I think we may pick up in the middle of 4. But my story with the parable of the sower is, there's the 4 soils, where good soil all the way down to bad soil. And you have, the dry rocks and the weeds and all these things. And it says something very true, that sometimes you try to sow some good news and it just falls onto bad soil. I feel like that every time I talk about like NASCAR, I try to give you guys the good news of the kingdom of God, of cars racing on tracks, and it just falls onto deaf ears. You know, like that. That's yeah. See? The good news is catchy. Like that.
He watches it all the time.
Yeah. Like that's, I can tell. Like that's just walks a little lighter, and like except Kyle Busch, may rest in peace, and like that's, but that what sometimes when we're spreading the good news, it just kind of falls into things, but also. And this is what we already talked about this. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But what my friend said to me that one time when she said, well, what if you're just bad soil? And this was such a pivotal role for me because it kind of changed how I looked at this. That she, because she was just down on herself that one day. She's like, I'm not doing anything good. I'm not like that's what if I'm just bad soil? And that made me look at that parable completely different. And I think that's important because it's good to remember what Jesus came to do and who he was talking about. Jesus didn't hang around all the people that had their lives together. You know, like that's, and if our theology only works when our lives are in order, then we're missing people. We're missing who we can talk to. And that also allows when our lives fall apart for whatever reason, it's like, okay, this is all for me. It's not about me that I've messed up or something like that. Like it's that I'm out now. Like it's for me always. So let's actually read something and then talk about it. So I want to start after he explains the parable of the sower. Let's do chapter 4, verse 21, and we'll go to the end of the chapter. So, Claubert, we read out of the New King James. However, who else has the New King James here? No one, right? Just me? Yeah, everyone else has different translations than that.
Okay.
And that's good. We want a bunch of different English translations. I mean, you can bring your French stuff in here if you want to, but like but you're going to have to translate it for us. No, and we're not going to let you just read out of that. Like that. That's, and so it's, but we have all these different translations. That way, if we have weird words that aren't aligning, we can look it up, and then we can look it up in the Greek, and we'll look and see what it actually means. So, all right, let me make sure. And I have an audio Bible, so we listen to it being read. All right, let me bring the Zoom over real fast. Share that one. That one. All right, here we go. We'll go to the end of the chapter.
Is a lamp brought to be put under a basket or under a bed? Is it not to be set on a lampstand? For there is nothing hidden which will not be revealed, nor has anything been kept secret, but that it should come to light. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. Take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you, and to you who hear, more will be given. For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away from him. The kingdom of God is as if a man should scatter seed on the ground, and should sleep by night and rise by day. And the seed should sprout and grow. He himself does not know how, for the earth yields crops by itself. First the blade, then the head, After that, the full grain in the head. But when the grain ripens, immediately he puts in the sickle, because the harvest has come. To what shall we liken the kingdom of God? Or with what parable shall we picture it? It is like a mustard seed, which, when it is sown on the ground, is smaller than all the seeds on earth. But when it is sown, it grows up and becomes greater than all herbs and shoots out large branches so that the birds of the air may nest under its shade.
And with many such parables, he spoke the word to them as they were able to hear it. But without a parable, he did not speak to them. And when they were alone, he explained all things to his disciples. On the same day, when evening had come, he said to them,
Let us cross over to the other side.
Now when they had left the multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that it was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow, and they awoke him.
Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?
Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea,
Peace! Be still!
And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm.
Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?
And they feared exceedingly, and said to one another,
Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea obey him?
Right. That's all you guys get right now. Okay, so let's talk about that. And remember, we're picking up light under a basket stuff right after the parable of the sower with the different things. So what is standing out? What is standing out to you?
That they don't know who he is.
Oh,
After all the parables and
like so you're talking about like with the wind and waves?
yeah.
That they're like, okay, all right, I see.
The disciples are following.
Mhm.
It's been some time,
Yeah.
they've been with Jesus, but they're still, you can tell that they're still doubting, if they believe who he says he is, or who are we following?
Yeah. So like that, they're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Like they can tell he's different, but they're like, is this really
Yeah,
the
really-
one?
And that's I don't know if they ever fully get it till like later. Like that. That's like that. That's like they there's definitely some people like it's a big part of Mark is at the very end. The Roman centurion basically quotes Mark chapter 1 again, and he's like, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." Like we're getting to that point where
We just stay in Mark. I don't think they ever get it.
like that's like that's well, and I think that's yes, like that.
Because
That's
when it ends with the women fleeing to tell them that,
yeah.
but that what's that extra stuff is
So, what is the story that Mark's trying to tell then? If it's not about the disciples getting it, what is the story trying to tell?
do we see it?
Yeah. Like that's like it all of a sudden, because I think a lot of times we think the faith exists in the realm of our understanding. But I don't think it's always there. I mean, and think about these parables. Like Jesus is like, the kingdom of God is like a light. You don't hide it under a bushel. No. Like you let it shine. And you read that and you're like, no, I get that. Wait a second. No, I don't. Like what's he talking about? That's, and it's like, so, I think he's pushing at us. So I think there's something about our maybe not as fully grasping it, but something about our spirit grasping it, like this other sense that isn't just connected to, yeah, this all makes sense, so now I'll believe. But there's this other thing that we may not be as in control of. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'm here doing this now. Does that make any sense? I feel like that's kind of what.
I bet they had conversations privately, like, can you just tell us? Can you just say?
Enough games.
Yeah. Can you just say?
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of says that. He's like, he explained everything to them. But
I believe in that moment they understood a little bit more
Yeah, you think
when
so?
he calmed that storm.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I think they were like, okay.
Because and what I think is fascinating about that storm, together with all of these growing seed parables, like I love the one about the kingdom of God is like a man who scattered seeds on the ground, and he falls asleep, and they just magically grow. He's like, I don't know, and that's what I like about modern day farming too, or just anything. We understand how it works. Yeah, photosynthesis and all these things like turning nitrogen in the soil to all this stuff. Yeah, we understand it. But it's a pretty nifty magic trick that you have to mow your lawn at least once a week in the summer. That's a pretty nifty magic trick that you have to do that. And that every grocery store in the country, including Kyler's, has things that kind of magically grew. And he's saying, like, and the kingdom of God is kind of like that. And so then he's also, it's like the mustard seed. And so that mustard seed one, I'm doing a lot of talking here. I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep on going. The mustard seed, what's the point of that mustard seed parable in here? What do you think? What do you think's going on with that? I think there's multiple points being made. What's one of them?
God doesn't need much to work with to grow.
Okay. Yeah, so it's extremely small. And then what's the outcome? Like, so it's extremely small.
Basically unlimited growth.
Yeah.
Growth. Unlimited growth that you have if you're willing to work with that small seed.
Yeah, like that unlimited growth. And then what's the point of the growth?
It becomes like a shelter for people and animals, and like it.
Yeah, like birds are able to rest in its branches and shade. So it's like it's this thing that's like, it's so small and insignificant, yet it becomes this thing that you can sit down on a hot day underneath. Birds can rest from their flying. Like that's kind of cool. And then he takes like a little moment, and he's like, Jesus taught with these parables all the time, but he told the disciples what it all meant, which is it's a little bit more egregious that they said unfortunate things later on. He's like, I'm telling you guys what's going on, and you're still not getting it, right? Like that's. And then I think that's what's amazing about the wind and the waves. You want to say something, David?
I was just the wind and the wave. I was thinking of something off topic. I watched the Ocean Gate documentary the other day. They just pop instantly before their brain can even rest.
Are you saying that Jesus is so amazing it causes our minds to pop before we can even?
If you believe.
Yeah. Claver, you were about to say something.
And another picture I see on it. Sometimes you don't have to have a big, huge conversation with somebody about the gospel for that person to catch it and then to go spiritually.
Oh yeah. No, there's a lot of times it's like, you? Like that. That's. I'm not looking at any part of the table at all, but that's kind of like a lot of us. You know, it really is. Like that's my original plan was not to do any of this. You know, my original plan was like computer networking stuff, and that's and then God got a hold of me Memorial Day weekend 2001, and kind of put me on this path. And so that's the that's yeah. So then you have the wind and the waves, and what I think is wild about the wind and the waves is that it's really no different than the mustard seed or the growing seed or the light in the basket. It's this kind of almost miraculous thing where the disciples are all sitting there and they're looking at the giganticness of like a terrifying sea. Because remember, the sea is where all the evil comes from. This is just that idea there of like we've talked about it all spring with tohu vavohu. You know, like the formless and void, how the sea is where all the evil comes from. Leviathan lives in the sea. And that's the big thing with Jonah being thrown overboard. You know, that's the Israelites going through the Red Sea, leaving Egypt on dry ground, it says. Like all these things are because the sea is where evil stuff happens. And so they're on the sea, and suddenly Odysseus is passing them by, and this massive storm is coming all around them. And it's all scary, and Jesus is asleep on a pillow in the midst of it. Now that's a reference to something else too. Does anyone know what that's a reference to? Jesus asleep on a pillow? Like there's another story in the Bible where there's a guy.
I'm gonna say Old Testament.
It's Old Testament.
Yeah,
Here we go. Here we go.
Like it's
Abraham.
What? Jonah.
I wanted a hint.
I was working on it. She beat you to it.
Yes, sorry.
And so Jonah, he's asleep, and they have to wake Jonah up, and they're like, "Do you know why we're in this storm?" And he goes, "Yeah, sorry, my bad, guys. Like that's like I'm running from my God currently." And they're like, "How dare you?" Like that's, and they're like, "We would kill you, but your God is watching." Like yeah, we can't do that. That we can't. We know He's watching. Like it's bad karma for us all. Like this you got to read in between the lines in the Hebrew for that.
I feel like the storm and the exorcism of the possessed guy is kind of the same, because no one can control this guy, and Jesus came up on him and he laid still, and he took the demon out of him, just like he stood up and told the storm, "Be still."
Yeah.
So I consider that guy was kind of like raging, you know what I mean?
Which is
just like a storm.
right after.
Which is right after, and that's why you're getting ahead of this. You're getting ahead of this.
I'm just thinking outside the box.
But that you're speaking my love language though, and so
Chocolate.
it's chocolate, yeah. And Pez candy is chocolate and good theology, and so like that's but
Scratch that from the record.
We're gonna have to do some editing. We're gonna have to do some serious editing.
Pez shows my age.
A Pez.
Hurts my feelings.
They got big bags now. You just get the candies, and you don't even need the dispenser anymore. You can do
Let's do it.
It's like the candy cigarettes.
Still, that's like,
So I don't appreciate being called old by the 30 years old now, Cassie? Like that that's
You said it.
Anyway, so yeah, I think David is right that the next story, which we'll read here maybe next week, and will that the story where Jesus is healing the guy who's possessed by a demon, which is the very next story. And just the unmitigated disaster of that guy's life is just like this disaster of the storm that's going around. And Jesus, like Jonah, is asleep on a cushion, and his disciples basically, do you not care? Like, we're all going to die. Like that. And he says, "Peace, be still." And suddenly, in that tiny word of "peace, be still," suddenly, like branches that birds rested. Suddenly, it's like light that's shining in the midst of the darkness. Suddenly, it's like a crop that you can eat, magically growing out of the ground. Yeah, the kingdom of God's like that. Like that. That's and suddenly it's this pushing towards, and the kingdom of God is like that guy who's filled with all the demons. And then for me, that takes me back to my friend again saying, well, what if you're just bad soil? And suddenly these wind and waves seem like really bad soil, and Jesus he's turning that bad soil good.
I think when in that moment, you can't just take that and look that close to that chapter and just say, what if I'm just bad soil? Because you got to keep reading.
You got to keep on reading.
Because Mark, or Jesus, through his mission, shows you that there's no depth that he won't go for you.
Yeah. Well, let's actually, we got a couple minutes. Let's read 5:1 through 20. Let's read 5:1 through 20. We're kind of catching up today. We're getting everyone back in the swing of things. Let's see. I didn't realize my candy preferences would be called old people candy today. Hurts my feelings. Let's see. All right, 1 through 20.
Then they came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gadarenes. And when he had come out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs. And no one could bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, and the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces. Neither could anyone tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and worshipped him. And he cried out with a loud voice, for he said to him,
"Come out of the man, unclean spirit."
What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I implore you, by God, that you do not torment me.
What is your name?
My name is Legion, for we are many.
Also he begged him earnestly that he would not send them out of the country. Now a large herd of swine was feeding there near the mountains, so all the demons begged him,
"Send us to the swine, that we may enter them."
And at once Jesus gave them permission. Then the unclean spirits went out and entered the swine. There were about 2,000. And the herd ran violently down the steep place into the sea and drowned in the sea. So those who fed the swine fled, and they told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that had happened. Then they came to Jesus and saw the one who had been demon-possessed and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. And those who saw it told them how it happened to him who had been demon-possessed, and about the swine. Then they began to plead with him to depart from their region. And when he got into the boat, he who had been demon-possessed begged him that he might be with him. However, Jesus did not permit him, but said to him,
Go home to your friends and tell them what great things the Lord has done for you, and how he has had compassion on you.
And he departed and began to proclaim in the Decapolis all that Jesus had done for him, and all marveled.
Nope. Yeah, that was it. All right. So what do we have here? What stands out to you here as we kind of close up? We'll probably be hitting this again next week. Not all at once.
I mean, what stands out to me here is that the demons know who he is.
Okay.
Nobody else does, but they do.
And
Yeah.
worship him.
So that I was about to point that out. So the worshiped him phrase, that's not in the NIV. It's in the King James. Let's look it up. What verse is that? It's right there where David's 6 and 7. 6, yeah. Like that. That's
I'm gonna do it.
what?
6, 7.
Oh, 6, 7. No.
Here we go.
It's
Like-
so annoying. It just like it's in the back. If you like are around kids a lot, it's just always.
They're not doing it anymore, are they?
No.
I'm pretty sure I
No,
ruined it. for
Curtis
someone
is the
down.
only one.
I ruined it for the hometown.
You got the pajamas that say it on it. It's like, hey girls, like X7, you're doing that to the neighborhood. And like, it's a bad look.
I mean,
That's why there was a moving truck in the driveway.
Yeah. Let's Mark chapter 5.
yeah,
verse
so it
6.
does not say that, in the NIV.
Like I noticed that too, and I was like, we're gonna have to look this up. That's why I was looking.
Like they say he fell to his knees, so I guess in a way that could be
Yeah.
a sign of worship when you fall to your knees.
Yeah. I think that's what the King James is doing, because it also says before him, and it's kind of in front of. But let's see here. So cross. Come on, love the ads. Okay, so here's the word, and he ran up and bowed down before him. This Mark chapter 5. Well, that's it. Okay, and so he ran and worshipped him. He ran and fell on his knees. And then John 9 is also where this is used, this word, I believe, and he worshipped him. So it's used as worshipped him and other things. So what do you think the worshipped him means there, or the fall on his knees in front of him? What do you think what is that saying? Because I think we have, I think we may have little tie-ups with how we define worship.
He's recognizing
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah.
Like,
He already knows Jesus is more powerful than him.
It's like bowing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, like submitting.
Throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
I submit to
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's like that dog trainer guy with the dogs.
Caesar.
Yes, Caesar.
He's been running around reckless for so long, and he saw Jesus. He's like, well, my time's over here.
Yeah.
And just,
Yeah. So like
Submitted.
that's a cool look at it then, where he immediately recognizes the power, and I think it's
Because he knows, like, hey, I can be gone with the word. So that's why it's like, I have nothing to do but to fall and to beg and plead to not send me away.
yeah.
And often I know the devil always knows Jesus' power, and then because they know him from the Father's house, because they were there together, and then after when they being rebellion against the throne of God, and then they send them to the earth and whatever where they fall down, and then from there, when Jesus come in flesh to deal with them, they already know with whom they're dealing with.
Yeah. So I mean the evil spirits there, like they recognize where the true power is, right? Like that's like they do. And there's so many too, which is interesting. There's like the whole legion And we'll come back to this story next week. But I like what David did earlier with connecting the craziness of the sea with the craziness of this guy having a legion of demons, and he's even breaking out of chains, and they're hanging around the dead, and just like all that stuff. And Jesus, and what does Jesus say to him? Like that's like it's just like a few small words again, right? It's just like that mustard seed again, and the guy's suddenly in his right mind again. And so again, it's like that light. Like you don't hide it. It's like that. It's like your grass grows miraculously. And that mustard seed.
According to Mark, like, and how this is written, like they asked the permission to go to the pigs, and Jesus didn't even have to reply. He just kind of like,
yeah,
and it happened.
And there just wasn't one demon, because 2,000 pigs died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a bunch.
Yeah. It's a bunch of. It's a bunch, and that's why the town is.
So was he possessed by multiple demons?
Yeah, that's the point with the legion, because the legion is a Roman military term for like a regiment. Yeah, is it 1,000? I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but a lot. Like a legion is like a army number of soldiers.
I didn't catch it first.
Yeah, that's a good question. So that means that there's a ton. It's like
He said we are many.
Yeah,
so
we are
I was
many.
like, so he was possessed by multiple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of what that means. So cool. Well, we'll pick up with five again. We'll probably read this first part of 5, and we'll get into the girl who restored. Feels good to be back doing this again. Like that's I enjoy all of these things. Does anyone have any last thoughts before we're done and we do the prayer stuff? All right. Well, let me stop recording. And on this thing, yes. Oh, no. All right.